a proofed yeast mixture. Here we go. We've got another tablespoon of yeast. Look at how beautiful that looks. Already proofing in 1 3/4 cups of warm water. Now, I tell you something special about working with yeast. Sometimes I like to add this. This is malt extract, and it's a barley product actually. Comes from barley, and you can either use sugar if the recipe calls for it, or you can use the malt extract. And you see you put about 2 tablespoons of that into your yeast mixture, and that really helps the yeast feed on the sugars in your mixture, and it really helps this to rise up beautifully. All right, so I've got that in, and with that, I want to have, let me beat that up a little bit so that's all mixed in. It's rather sticky, like molasses. And then with it, I'm going to add some butter and some sugar. And here we have 4 tablespoons of butter and about 1/4 cup of sugar, and I want to get that soft. Then with this, we're going to have something special. We're going to put some mascarpone cheese in this. This gives a real richness to the dough. Here's the mascarpone, and that's a sweet dessert cheese from northern Italy, actually from Lombardia. But if you didn't have mascarpone, well, you could use regular cream cheese for this, but it won't be as rich. Okay, there's that. Now we need 2 eggs. And now we want to add flour to this. But we're not using the Durham flour for this as we did for St. Francis. For this bread, we're using just unbleached flour. And get this all mixed up, and then bring over your flour. And here we have about 6 cups of flour. And now you roll up your sleeves and you do the same thing. You get this flour mixture into your wet ingredients. I wish you could feel this. This is just so nice and soft. It's a wonderful dough to work with. Get a little extra of that off my fingers. Get my scraper here. Get these bits off. And a scraper like this, a bench knife as it's also called, also helps you to move the dough. So I think you get the idea. You've got to get that into a nice ball just like you did before. Then you put this into a greased bowl, you cover it, and you let it rise. Isn't that beautiful? And this will make 2 gubane. So we want to cut this in half. Let me cut that in half for you and work with 1/2 at a time. Actually, if you were going to make this for Christmas, you could actually make this bread ahead of time, or for Easter rather, not for Christmas. You could make this bread ahead of time and you could freeze it. So put a little flour down on your board and then get out your rolling pin and roll this out, to about a 16-inch circle. So here's some orange marmalade, and I want to spread half of this, because this is for the full recipe. You want to spread half of that over the dough. If you didn't want to use orange marmalade, well, you could use apricot jam, which would be very nice on this as well. You spread that over the top, just like that. Then you get your filling ingredients. Here we have our dried fruit. Throw in a little cinnamon. Then we have our nuts, our raisins, a little extra sugar. Here are our hazelnuts, raisins. And just to moisten that up a little bit, you want to give that a little bit of Marsala wine. See? About 1/4 cup, I would say. Then mix this all up so it's all well blended. Remember, you're making 2, so you only need half of this mixture. Then you want to sprinkle this on, see, all over, to about a 1/2 inch of the border. Because now you have to roll this up. Isn't this beautiful? This looks good enough to eat just the way it is. Okay. Then, starting near you, you roll this up. You see? Just like this. Make sure you tuck in the sides as you go along, because you don't want that filling to fall out. And when you get to the end, you want to make sure that you take that seam and you really tuck it under. Tuck the seam under, just like that. And then you do a little roll under your hands, you see, like this. Now, we need to put that into a greased bowl. And you want to do this in a deep bowl. Here's mine. So what you do is take it and swirl it up, just like that. Pick it up, put it in the bowl, cover it with a piece of plastic wrap, and this is left to rise. Then, when it's risen, it looks like this. Now, all that needs is a little egg wash on top. This is just an egg with a little bit of half and half. Your oven is on at 375 degrees. You sprinkle on the turbinado sugar over the top, which is coarse brown sugar, and you bring it over to the oven. You put it in and you bake this for about 35 to 40 minutes.